Hi everyone, it's Lana from Living Wildly Free. Welcome to my channel. So for today's video, we are going to be, in a way, I guess you could say, kind of planning the week of December 27 to January 2. Now, since this is the Love for Letters horizontal planner from the Happy Planner, and I will be using it as my lettering calligraphy, not really journal, but I guess practice. What would you call it? Practice planner. There you go. Practice planner. I figured maybe instead of posting daily videos, I would post weekly videos and show you the calligraphy I would be doing on each day. So if that is something you would like to see, keep watching. All right, so I realize that intro might have been a little bit confusing, but it will make sense once we jump into it. So I have my pens with me. I have my pointed pen and I have my Zig letter pen Kokoro. I don't know how to pronounce that. Kokoiro. Okay, and these are the brush pens that I'm going to be using. So I have those. Here, place that there. And like I said, we will be doing the week of December 27 to January 2. Now, if you haven't seen my other video of setting up the monthly January spread, I suggest you go check it out if you would like to join me on this lettering journey, because here I've prompted out what I'm going to be doing for each day. So that way, if you'd like to join me, you have an idea what to expect and have an idea of what we're going to be doing. So since this is the first week, I'm going to pull out these pages. And now I have this extra filler sheet in here in the center of it because I decided I would be using the filler sheets for my pointed pen and be using my brush pens on the weeklies. And the reason for that is because I didn't want to have any bleed through on my pages. And in the pen test that I did of this planner, there was a bit of bleeding when it came to the pointed pen. So I'm pulling out those sheets and I'm also pulling out some more filler paper. And the reason I'm doing this is because I like to have a bit of cushion when I'm doing my lettering, and I don't want to place it directly on my mouse pad. So for those of you that have been watching some of my videos, the reason I have this mouse pad down on my desk is because my desk is actually covered with glass. So you can see a little bit of the reflection that is coming through. So I'm using my mouse pad, basically as a table topper, so that it's not so distracting. And I realized that, maybe the pink is just too much on camera, so I'm going to have to look for something else eventually, but for now, we have that. So, since this video was it took some time for me to figure out how I wanted to do this, because I wanted to be able to give you guys a video the week ahead so that you could see how I was doing each day of the week. But then I figured if I were to do a video every day, that might be a lot of videos to make for me personally. So I hope you guys don't mind. So what I'm deciding to do is actually letter out the first line of each day. So that way you guys can see what I'm doing, and I can give you I can give you some tips and maybe explain a little bit as I'm doing it. And that way you can actually do it with me on the day-to-day basis, but you'll have this ahead of time to refer back to, if that makes sense, right? I hope that makes sense. So that's what we're going to be doing. So now that I have my pages out, I can now actually come down and sit at my desk. So I may have mentioned this a few times already. Now, when I've been doing, let me just straighten this out. Is that straight on camera? Kind of. So what I actually like to do is I like to keep my page perpendicular. So this was a little trick that one of my calligraphy teachers taught me, because it helps you automatically angle the letters as you're writing them out. And it allows your hand to have a little bit more of freedom of movement, because if you do opt to do it this way, where it's directly in line with you, you might notice that your hand is going to have to angle itself so that you can get that nice angle of the letters. Whereas if you turn the page to be perpendicular to you, it makes it a little bit easier to get that angle and make that angle a little bit more consistent than it would be otherwise. All right, so so for the weeklies, I'm going to be using my brush pen, as I said. So we'll start off with the brush pen. All right, now, really quickly, I planned this out to follow the prompts that the Happy Planner gave, only because I think it makes it a little bit more fun. It makes it feel like you have a guided calligraphy journal type of thing, and that way you don't have to think too much. So this week we are going to be focusing on the oval shape, which I guess you could also call the O, but it's really the oval stroke, because you will need to use the oval in a whole bunch of different letters. All right, so for the first day, yes, I'm just double checking. So for the first day, we will go ahead and just do the simple oval. And I'm going to say it is the small oval. And you'll see why later. So that is my oval, and I want you guys to kind of keep track of when you're doing this. Are you noticing that the lines to close the oval are not quite matching up, and maybe the dark shade is not as consistent as it should be? Because those are little ways for you to keep track of how well you're doing your practice. So that way you're not also just making these circles in a way. There's actually a point to why you're practicing them. Okay, so your goal is basically to make sure that as you close, they do tend to meet as close as possible. And you want to try and keep it as consistent as you can. So if you notice, mine are kind of changing shape a little bit. And I think it's because I am trying to rush this. I don't want this video to be too long for you guys. So maybe I should just stop when you get the hang of it, right? Which I'm sure at this point kind of makes sense, but you may notice that as you do it, it kind of gets addicting to keep going. It might even feel a little soothing. And the bonus is you're creating that muscle memory. So all of this is really just about muscle memory. Now, you might notice I'm starting actually here. So I'm just gonna do half. Even though in the prompt, it almost wants you to start midway. It wants you to start somewhat here, right? So there's a reason I choose to start higher up. And that's because when I was doing my calligraphy, my practice, we were actually taught to do it as a break. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that will be one of the prompts later on. A break so that you understand that each stroke actually has a purpose, all right? So for Monday, we will be doing the small O's. For Tuesday, we are going to be doing the big O's. And you may notice, at least for me, I sometimes feel that the bigger letters are a little bit difficult to do because I'm used to writing small. And I feel like here you can clearly see the thick downstroke and the thin upstroke. So here it's not as clean. So I'm going to try and change the pressure a little bit more. But if you notice, I really don't enjoy the big. All right, so we have Monday and Tuesday down. Now, Wednesday, I'm going to be adding the two connectors. All right, so the two connectors basically are this. One coming from the bottom to the top, there's a small angle, and then the other one is going to look like that. So hopefully you can see that. I will probably zoom in on this so that you get a better look. But I'm going to be adding those two because now on Wednesday, we want to connect all these ovals. And I don't know if you can tell, but it seems my hand has gotten very used to a lot of pressure. So let me just see if I can switch the nib a little bit. And the reason it's important to practice connecting is because the connectors are going to be how you write out the letters. And the nice thing about this little connector here is whatever mistake you made, like for example this, you get to cover it up, right? Now what you're looking for when you are connecting is you want to make sure that the spacing you have between each letter is equal and it looks as consistent as you can possibly make it. All right, so I'll just leave that as is for now because I do want to practice daily. And we can move on here to Thursday. So Thursday is basically the same as Wednesday, except we will be doing the big O's, which okay. So you may find, depending on how you normally write. Now, if you hear that noise in the background, that's my neighbor. I apologize. But what I was going to say is, even though your regular handwriting has no real effect on the way you would do calligraphy, the one thing that I did note was I struggle to write big on a normal basis, which is why I'm not too fond of big calligraphy, at least when I do it. So it has a tendency to kind of frustrate me. Like, these, for me, do not look as good as they should, but these ones are like, you know, they're cute. I enjoy them. They're fun. All right, so we have Thursday down. So now I'm going to quickly check here. So Friday is going to be the broken oval. So let me just move my filler paper to the side. I think what I'll do is, for the pointed pen, I may just fast forward through all of that because pointed pen does really take a lot of time. It's much slower than what you see here with the brush pen. So did I do, okay, so for Friday, it is going to be the broken oval. I'm going to do both small and big on Friday so you can see the difference. So I'm also going to add the connectors so that you can see. But basically, it looks like it looks like that. And the reason for this is when you start doing calligraphy like copperplate, is they are very particular about the way each stroke is supposed to look. So each stroke should be on its own, in a sense. So that way it gives you a little bit more control and you're able to make it a little bit more consistent. Although when I did do the copperplate, it was quite challenging. So even though I am separating it, you want to bring it as close to where it would meet so that when it does meet, you'll see something like that. But I am very rusty. But it just gives you an idea of how important each stroke is and how much intention goes into each calligraphy, right? So you get the idea. All right, there. It's not perfect, it's not fantastic, but it's okay. We will work with that. So Saturday, I wanted to do bouncy, right? Double check, yes, bouncy oval. So I enjoy bouncy because so bouncy is basically when it is, I guess I can kind of show you. We're going to add longer connectors. But if you notice, you get to play up and down the lines, and plus this allows you to make a more fluid stroke. And even if you maybe make a mistake, it's a little bit more fun, right? So it almost looks like Christmas lights, strangely enough. So I'm going to do, I'll do one big, just so you can see. And you can make this an option, but I'll go ahead and break down the stroke a little bit. So you're going to have a connector that comes up a little bit more wavy. Then you're going to have a thick downstroke that continues to a thin upstroke. Make that turn, make a thick downstroke. So it looks kind of like that, if that made sense. So you'll have two thick downstrokes coming down. Let's see if I can break it up a little bit for you guys. So thick coming down, thin coming up. Then if you need to stop there, you're going to continue that line, thick downstroke, then come across, right? Hopefully that made sense to you guys, but there it is. And, oh my gosh, I forgot again. Why do I keep forgetting? I think I just get into my groove and forget that these 3 days were supposed to be different colors. Ah. Yes, so I was going to make this. Okay, I'm just putting it there just so I can remember when I do my own practice that I did intend to do color, because that just magically slipped my mind. All right. I guess we'll just follow the trend and we'll go on black. So Sunday was going to be a random day that you guys could do whatever you wanted, right? Let me just check and be sure. Yes, so actually we can have Sunday and this blank space here. Oh, I know what we will do for this. Okay. So here I think I am going to just choose a random word. And let me just quickly check. All right. I am going to do ooh. Ooh la la. Okay, so This gives you the oval shape for the O's, but it also gives you the oval shape for the A's. So that is the word that I'm going to be going with. Hopefully you guys can go with that word as well, or you can choose another word for yourself. Completely up to you. Now for this blank page, what I used to do when I first started lettering or calligraphy is I would choose one word that I just practiced over and over and over and over again. Some people choose their names. Some people just choose something that connects to them. But the one word that I always chose was hello. Not too sure why, but it was the word that I chose. So, I think for the month of January, my word that will go into this box is going to be hello. So, hopefully that is helpful for you guys. At least you'll be able to see now what I'm going to be working on for the rest of the week. This is what it looks like. And I should add one more because knowing me, I'm going to forget again. So, really quickly. All right, so I did that quickly just so I wouldn't forget. But I already see that my A's are not consistent because this one's gone over the line, but it's okay. It's practice. This is where you get to enjoy your practice. So, like I said, we have these two. I hope you guys are going to be happy doing this with me. And now let's move on to the pointed pen. And I think for this, I will just go ahead and fast forward this section, only because I don't want to take up too much of your time. So let me go ahead and fast forward. All right, so now you can see what we have for the week of December 27 to January 2. Here is the pointed pen, and really quickly, because I was trying to do it fast, so that's why there's a lot of bleeding there, but you can see now why I'm choosing to use the filler paper rather than the weekly sheets. And with the brush pen that I've chosen to use, you can see there's no bleed through, which is great. I do notice though that the filler paper is a little bit thicker, and I'm sure I've said this in my pen test video. It's a little bit thicker than the weekly sheets, which is fine, which is great because that means I get to use the filler sheets for my pointed pen. But now you have an idea of what we will be practicing this week. I hope this video was not too long for you guys, but it is time now to put this back into the planner. I am excited to get started. So let me just throw that in there. Here is our week. I do need to let this dry a little bit, but there you have it. That is our week with the brush pen, and I think I may keep how many pages? Maybe 3. Okay, before I put that in, let me just shoot these back inside. And we can go back here. Place these in. There we go. So, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving me a like and maybe hitting the subscribe so you can join me on this lettering calligraphy journey using the Happy Planner Love for Letters Big Size Horizontal Planner for 2022. And if you have any suggestions on how you would rather I plan out these videos, let me know. But I think maybe for now we will keep it this way, where I show you how to do the week ahead, and that way you still have time to do it on a daily basis on your own. So I hope to see you on my next video. Happy planning, happy lettering, and remember to keep living wildly free. Bye.